Hey, it's the Nerdy Sports Fan, and we're doing our weekly episodes again because, well, the games are dwindling down and there's so much NFL stuff that has to be talked about. Um, Luke Kuechly retired today. Luke Kuechly is another in a long string of early retirements. Now, this is a disturbing trend if you're an idiot. I just really appreciate that I got to watch the man's career. Now, if he comes back because, well, he's still viable to play as a linebacker in the NFL. I mean, he's still going to be a top 5 linebacker in the league. He just doesn't see himself playing up to his own standard anymore, so he wants to walk away at the peak of his game. I can respect that. I really can. Because once you keep on playing as you're declining, that's when the injuries come. Okay, that's when these people get the crap kicked out of them. Like what happened to Cam Newton. He's getting beat the hell up. And as soon as he's back from injury, widely being reported right now that they're going to shop him. So Cam Newton is likely to get shifted to another team during the offseason if he doesn't retire. So yeah, long string of young retirements. Most disappointing for me, really, was Patrick Willis. A few years back when he retired, I was almost personally hurt. I love watching very gifted, hard-hitting linebackers. It's not common that you get a really physical, intense dude there who can really just put his fingerprints all over a game. Ray Lewis was my favorite player to watch ever. So having Patrick Willis, joy. It was pure joy watching that guy. But yeah, he went. You can also talk about Calvin Johnson, who retired young. Heck, you can go all the way back to Barry Sanders and say he still left some time on the table. And you can talk about what it would have been for the record books, but you don't talk about what it would have been for their career. Everybody still recognizes that they were truly great and Hall of Fame players. So don't worry about it, you know? Andrew Luck's probably not getting in the Hall. Injuries made his entire career a what if. You know, what would have been if the guy wasn't hurt so damn much? He didn't win the big one, and his career stats don't shake out with the greats that are in. They don't even shake out with the greats that are on the cusp. Like Randall Cunningham trounces anything that Andrew Luck put up in his career. So yeah, Andrew Luck ain't getting in. But he retired young. Okay, he left probably 4 or 5 years in quarterback career on the table. Maybe not for him personally, because he did have a long injury history, and he grew tired of the rehabbing. And you can understand that too. So not quite what Luke Kuechly did, where he walks away because he's just not at peak anymore. But yeah, similar reasons. You know, the NFL wears on you. So when these guys retire early, they're saying, hey, the rest of my life after football really matters to me. And it might matter more than football right now. You know, Kuechly wasn't winning Super Bowls. He wasn't on the cusp. They might be 4 years away. 4 years. So that's the end of Kuechly's career naturally right there. And what was he really going to do in those years? Just get himself more hurt? Everybody knows he's a damn Hall of Famer. Everybody knows he was the best at his position for at least a few years. And that generally gets you in as a linebacker or any defensive player. I mean, the winning the big ones standard really only rests on the shoulders of the quarterback. Everybody else genuinely gets recognized for their own individual accomplishments. It's the quarterback that's held to account for the whole team. It's a little unfair, but hey, they get paid the big bucks, so screw them, right? On the opposite side, you have Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald has announced that he's coming back for the 2020 season. Man is going to play in his 17th year, and this guy is all class, so you love to see that. I mean, the NFL is full of assholes that beat the shit out of their girlfriends and wives, take too many drugs, get into car accidents while they're drinking, assault freaking security guards at music festivals. They're full. They're rife with assholes. Okay? So seeing somebody who is a pure class act like Larry Fitzgerald stay in the game is a blessing to the PR department for the NFL. They are going to ride that all the way to the freaking bank. So I'm happy for Arizona in general because they're in a position to stack themselves. They showed real promise with this new offense and Kyler Murray. So you give that with David Johnson Jr., maybe a solid offensive line, and you still got Larry freaking Fitzgerald bringing the young core receivers along? Yeah. They could do some damage next year. They just got to, be able to defend things. And Kyler Murray's got to get some consistency, but that comes with time. So, excited, really excited to see what the Cardinals can do next season. We've got, pre-draft stuff coming up very, very soon, and free agency stuff going on very, very soon. Kenyon Drake is going to be a free agent after this year if they don't wrap him up on a contract. So, yeah, there's things that they got to do to make sure that they keep this core together, but I think they can. They've got the money and seemingly the will to build a winner there now. Man, do I love the NFL. So there's a lot of decisions to be made coaching-wise. One that happened in Denver, they fired their offensive coordinator and hired Pat Shurmur immediately after the guy lost his job. So rookie quarterback, and they think maybe they can get the Daniel Jones treatment. Shurmur did really, really well with Daniel Jones. Okay? Nobody expected that dude to do anything his rookie year. And halfway through the season, we're saying, well damn, fuck Eli, right? We were all wrong. We were all wrong. Everybody said Daniel Jones who when he got drafted, and he ended up being pretty damn good. Now, he's got to develop, of course, but if Drew Lock can turn into what people think Daniel Jones can turn into, yeah, that could be great for them. They've got some good young skill position players there in Denver, so making some moves to fix the defense and the offensive line, they could really do some damage. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm very intrigued to see if Marshawn Lynch decides to stay. I doubt he will. They only had a contract worked out for the playoffs. So Seattle's got some decisions to make. Pete Carroll, he's a bit overbearing and doesn't seem to have a handle on the personnel the way he did. So is that something you want to move on from? They got a year to figure it out. The way the contract's working out there, he's going to have to make some adjustments and make sure that the roster's ready. Teams like that, they've got to hold people to account when they can't quite win it. Now, they've won one, but, there's been some issues the past few years. So teams will really get weird as a great head coach gets laid into a career and just isn't winning the big one. It happened to Andy Reid. I mean, he was deep in the playoffs all the goddamn time, but he couldn't win the big one. So he got run out of town. And now the Chiefs are fan-fucking-tastic. And, yeah, the Eagles suffered a bit until they hired a guy from Andy Reid's staff to bring him over and bring him back to prominence and winning a Super Bowl. So teams get dumb when a very, very good head coach has some circumstantial things that make it so he loses. And I think Pete Carroll might be falling suspect to that this season. If they don't win it, they don't go deep in the playoffs again, yeah, he might be on the outs. So we'll see next season. I'm very intrigued by the Browns. They finally hired their head coach, Kevin Stefanski. He got deep in the interview process with them last year, so this really isn't a shock. But you would have liked if they could have hired a more experienced man Mike McCarthy really would have been great for them. But the Cowboys got him for largely the same reasons that the Browns could have, having a good core of players with a young quarterback already set in place. And really the selling point there is, sure, you got to deal with Jerry Jones, but the Browns owner is just as bad. He's just not as well known. And your check's definitely going to clear in Dallas, and you're going to have all sorts of other financial opportunities there. So McCarthy in Dallas makes a hell of a lot of sense over the Browns. So now they're scrambling, and yeah, you get stuck with the first-year head coach. This is the story of the Browns, okay? It's been reported that Josh McDaniels from the Patriots turned down the job. He was deep in the interview process, okay? This guy had pretty much 24 hours worth of interviewing with these people, and he walked away. And it's reported that he walked away because the owner of the Browns mandated that the game plan had to be approved by him and the analytics department every week. Ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Okay? Now, mind you, he's a freaking billionaire. He owns the thing. He can do what the fuck he wants with it. But who in the fuck worth their salt is going to work under those conditions? Nobody. I don't think anybody out there has had a job where they're most successful when they had their boss standing a foot behind them staring at their work. Nobody works well under those conditions. It's goddamn moronic. So I've been saying for years that Dan Snyder's the worst owner in sport. Jimmy Haslam, man, you gotta fix your shit before you take over that title. Very talented team. And because Haslam got too involved in the coaching hire decision by listening to his rookie quarterback over his GM, he ran the GM that built this powerhouse roster out of town. The coaching hire was terrible of Kitchens. So now Stefanski has to deal with this. I hope he hires a highly experienced defensive coordinator like Wade Phillips, or really just anybody with head coaching experience who's dealt with a domineering owner who can help him along. Because otherwise, his career in Cleveland is already doomed due to bad ownership. So, hats off to you for the try, Mr. Stefanski. There's only 32 of those jobs in the entire world, and you got one of them, okay? There's no taking that away from you. But it's probably the worst NFL job that you could have started out with at this point in your career. Ron Rivera's got a hell of a lot of clout going with him to Washington. He can handle that kind of owner. Mike McCarthy's got a hell of a lot of clout going under Jerry Jones. He can handle that kind of owner. This is your first crack at it, and your boss is a shithead. So I'm sorry. You're going to fail, likely. Just fail with some grace so you can bounce back and get another head coaching job in a couple of years. Hold out. Josh McDaniel has been holding out for years for the right job, the right fit for him. Now, mind you, a lot of people would say Indianapolis was that when he backed out of that, but if it ain't right for you, it ain't right for you, okay? And it can potentially ruin your career for years. So McDaniels is holding out because he can, okay? Everybody wants him as their head coach every single offseason. He knows that. So he's just holding out for the perfect opportunity. Kyle Stefanski, he got passed over for jobs in his first round through. So this opening salvo of your career as a head coach, you're going to get drummed out, but McDaniels did too. Okay, just do your job the right way. You're going to have your pick of the litter the next time up. Well, that's it for me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Keep the conversation going. We're going to get into free agency and pre-draft coverage very, very soon. At least one video for every team for both free agency and pre-draft process coming after the Super Bowl. And my big board will be coming out very quickly as well. So keep an eye out for those. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. We'll see you next time, guys.